Forget the headlines, the politics, and the pop culture for a moment. To truly understand America, you have to look at a map. But not just any map. A map that shows a land of such impossible scale and mind-bending extremes, it feels more like a fantasy world than a single country. Let's begin. Fact number 1. We'll start with a shocker. The United States has no official language at the federal level. The founders believed in linguistic freedom. So while English is the de facto language, hundreds of others are spoken every single day, all protected by that very silence in the Constitution. Fact number 2. Now for the scale. The state of Alaska is so incomprehensibly massive you could fit the next 3 largest states inside it: Texas, California, and Montana. And you'd still have room to spare, an area the size of Florida left over for vacation. Fact number 3. But its size isn't just about land area. That massive landmass gives it an equally mind-boggling coastline. If you were to walk the entire coast of Alaska, you would have walked further than the coastlines of all the other 49 states combined. Fact number 4. America is a land of vertical extremes too. It's home to the highest peak in North America, the majestic Denali, touching the sky at over 20,000 feet. And just a short flight away is the lowest point, Death Valley, which plunges to 282 feet below sea level. Fact number 5, and they don't call it Death Valley for nothing. It holds the record for the highest air temperature ever reliably recorded on Earth. A blistering 134 degrees Fahrenheit, or 56.7 Celsius. That's not just hot, it's oven hot. Fact number 6. From the driest heat to the greatest water. On the opposite end of the spectrum is Lake Superior. This single lake is so vast it holds 10% of all the fresh surface water on the entire planet. Fact number 7. And that water needs to move. The Missouri River, the nation's longest, snakes its way for over 2,241 miles. To put that in perspective, that's like getting in your car and driving from New York City all the way to Las Vegas. Fact number 8. This incredible diversity in landscape means something amazing. America is the only country on Earth to have all 5 of the planet's major climate zones: tropical, dry, temperate, continental, and polar. You can surf in Hawaii and go dog sledding in Alaska without a passport. Fact number 9. But for all that space, some places are almost empty. Welcome to Monowai, Nebraska, a town with an official population of 1. Her name is Elsie Eiler. She's the mayor, the librarian, and the bartender. And yes, she pays taxes to herself. Fact number 10. From the tiny to the Titanic. In stark contrast, the population of New York City alone is greater than the individual populations of 40 of the 50 states. It's a city-state in everything but name. Fact number 11. And that city is famous for its offices, but none compare to the world's largest, the Pentagon. This building contains over 17 miles of corridors. You could run a half marathon inside it and still not have seen every single hallway. Fact number 12. It might surprise you then that 1/3 of all land in the entire United States isn't owned by people or companies. It's owned by the federal government itself, managed as national parks, forests, and public lands. Now that we've seen the epic scale, let's zoom in. From a state that's closer to Africa than you think, to a town literally named Hell, this is where America's map gets truly weird and the sky gets incredibly busy. Fact number 13. And crisscrossing the skies above all that land are more than 87,000 separate flight paths every single day. This creates one of the most complex and busiest air traffic systems on the planet. Fact number 14. Speaking of states, let's talk names. The state with the longest official name is the state of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations. It's a mouthful that reflects its colonial history. Fact number 15. But here's the irony. For a state with such a grand name, it's the smallest in the entire country by area. You could fit Rhode Island into Alaska almost 500 times. Fact number 16. From the smallest state to the most unique. Hawaii is the only state that is geographically not part of North America. It's made up entirely of islands formed by volcanic hotspots in the middle of the Pacific. Fact number 17. And its unique tropical climate makes it the only state in the US that commercially grows coffee. This gives the world the famous Kona coffee. Fact number 18. From a long name to a short one. Maine is the only US state with a name that is just 1 syllable. Fact number 19. But here's a geographic mind-bender. Despite being on the East Coast, Maine is the closest US state to the continent of Africa. Fact number 20. And if you want to be in multiple places at once, head to the Four Corners Monument. It's the only spot in the country where you can physically stand in 4 states, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah, at the exact same time. Fact number 21. Now for some truly memorable towns. There is a town in Michigan officially named Hell. Every winter you can truthfully say, it's a cold day in hell. Fact number 22. And if you're feeling a bit bored, you could visit Boring, Oregon, which has an official sister city relationship with the village of Dull, Scotland. Together they celebrate their boring and dull partnership. Fact number 23. But the landscape isn't always so amusing. The Central Plains are so prone to extreme weather that an average of 1,200 tornadoes touch down in the US every year. That's far more than in any other country on Earth. Fact number 24. And down in Florida's swamps you'll find a biological battleground. It is the only place in the world where the American alligator and the American crocodile coexist in the wild. Fact number 25. Finally, if you ever get lost, just look for a town called Springfield. It's the most common town name in the country, appearing in more than half of all the states. You think you learned American history in school? What you learned was the highlight reel. The real and far more interesting story is hidden in the footnotes, the spelling errors, and the bizarre truths behind the nation's most sacred symbols. Fact number 26. Let's start with the national anthem. That soaring patriotic tune of the Star-Spangled Banner was originally a popular and rowdy British drinking song. It was called To Anacreon in Heaven, a favorite in gentlemen's clubs and taverns. Fact number 27. And if you think a drinking song as an anthem is strange, look at the Liberty Bell. One of the most sacred symbols of American freedom has a permanent typo cast in bronze. The state of Pennsylvania is misspelled with only one N. Fact number 28. Speaking of symbols, the first president wasn't even sworn in at the modern Capitol. George Washington took his oath of office in New York City, which served as the nation's first capital. Fact number 29. In fact, George Washington is the only U.S. president who never lived in the White House. John Adams was the first to move in to the still unfinished building in 1800. Fact number 30. Ready for a truly great story. The current 50-star American flag was designed by a 17-year-old high school student named Robert Heft for a history project in 1958. His teacher gave him a B-. Fact number 31. Robert, confident in his design, sent it to his congressman. When Alaska and Hawaii were being considered for statehood, his design was chosen out of thousands. After President Eisenhower made it official, his teacher, in shock, changed his grade to an A. Fact number 32. One of America's biggest land deals was also its most mocked. In 1867, the U.S. bought Alaska from Russia for just $7.2 million. Critics called it Seward's folly, believing it was a worthless, frozen wasteland. Fact number 33. And the agency that protects the president. The Secret Service wasn't created for that. It was established in 1865 to combat widespread currency counterfeiting. Presidential protection was only added as a duty decades later. Fact number 34. From Washington to Hollywood. The iconic Hollywood sign, a symbol of American cinema, originally said Hollywoodland. It was nothing more than a giant billboard for a new suburban real estate development. Fact number 35. And in the modern era of information, the Library of Congress, the largest library in the world, once tried to archive every single public tweet ever sent. This created a digital history of our fleeting thoughts, though they've since become more selective. Fact number 36. The symbol of the nation itself, the bald eagle, was chosen as the national bird in 1782. It was meant to represent strength and freedom. Fact number 37. However, Founding Father Benjamin Franklin fiercely disagreed. He called the bald eagle a bird of bad moral character. He argued that the wild turkey was a much more respectable bird and a true original native of America. Fact number 38. Ironically, the bird we call a turkey got its name because it was first imported to Europe through the country of Turkey. This led Europeans to mistakenly name it after the place it came from. Beyond the Founding Fathers, America's history is full of rebels, daredevils, and beloved icons with surprising origins. From the world's first skyscraper to the world's most famous bear, these are the stories you definitely weren't taught. Fact number 39. From birds to buildings. The world's first ever skyscraper wasn't built in New York. It was the Home Insurance Building in Chicago, completed in 1885, and it was the first to use a revolutionary steel frame structure. Fact number 40. And one of the world's most beloved toys has a presidential origin. The teddy bear was named after President Theodore Teddy Roosevelt. On a hunting trip, he refused to shoot a bear cub, and a cartoonist immortalized the event. Fact number 41. Daredevils also make history. The first person to ever go over Niagara Falls in a barrel and survive wasn't a reckless man. She was a 63-year-old schoolteacher named Annie Edson Taylor, who did it in 1901 hoping to secure fame and fortune. Fact number 42. In the world of academics, Harvard holds the title of the first university in the U.S. It was founded way back in 1636 when the colonies were still a rugged frontier. Fact number 43. And the first American-made gasoline-powered car wasn't a Ford. It was built by the Duryea brothers in 1893 in Springfield, Massachusetts. Fact number 44. Some states are known for producing presidents. Virginia is called the mother of presidents. 8 American presidents were born there, more than any other state. Fact number 45. But hot on its heels is Ohio, known as the mother of modern presidents. It was the birthplace of 7 leaders, including Ulysses S. Grant. Fact number 46. Even famous nicknames have strange origins. The Big Apple was popularized not by an advertiser. A sports writer in the 1920s used it to refer to the big money horse racing tracks in and around New York City. Fact number 47. Here's a strange bit of government trivia. The fire department in Washington, D.C. has no fire chief. The person in charge holds the title of Fire and EMS Commissioner. Fact number 48. Some parts of America seem frozen in time. In a remote part of the Grand Canyon, there is still a U.S. post office. It receives its mail and supplies via a mule train. Fact number 49. While the turkey lost out, America does have a national tree. In 2004, the mighty oak tree was officially designated as the national tree of the United States. Fact number 50. And finally, a fact for the word nerds. Take a look at all 50 state names. The letter J is the only letter in the English alphabet that does not appear in any of them. Every country has its strange laws, but America has 50 states worth of weird. From where your donkey can sleep to the technologies that run your life, these are the bizarre rules and surprising origins that define the American way. Fact number 51. Let's start with the law. In Arizona, an old law from the 1920s makes it illegal for a donkey to sleep in a bathtub. The law originated after a rancher's donkey was washed away in a flash flood. The town passed the law to prevent it from happening again. Fact number 52. In Gainesville, Georgia, the poultry capital of the world, it is illegal to eat fried chicken with a fork. This ordinance was passed as a publicity stunt, and while rarely enforced, you are technically required to eat it with your hands. Fact number 53. Thinking of taking on some wildlife? In Oklahoma, it is officially against the law to wrestle a bear. This rule was likely passed to discourage the cruel practice of bear baiting in the 19th century. Fact number 54. And if you're an aspiring cowboy fisherman, think twice in Tennessee. It is illegal to use a lasso to catch a fish. Fact number 55. Let's talk about something quintessentially American, the yellow school bus. That specific color is officially named National School Bus Glossy Yellow. It was chosen because it's the color most easily seen in our peripheral vision, making it a key safety feature. Fact number 56. Here's a bit of technological irony. Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone, considered his own creation an intrusion on his real work. He was a scientist and refused to have one in his study. Fact number 57. When it comes to jobs, the data is clear. The deadliest job in America is consistently logging, due to dangerous machinery and falling trees. The safest? A university professor. Fact number 58. The most popular sport in America isn't professional baseball or basketball. By sheer number of participants, high school football is king. Over 1 million students play every year. Fact number 59. Tipping culture is so ingrained in American life that the federal minimum wage for tipped workers, like waiters and bartenders, is only $2.13 per hour. The assumption is that tips will make up the difference. Fact number 60. And finally, the reach of the fast food industry is staggering. It is estimated that 1 out of every 8 Americans has been employed by McDonald's at some point in their lives. Fact number 61. 2 technologies that define the modern world have military origins. The Internet began as ARPANET, a U.S. military project. It was designed to create a decentralized communication network that could survive a nuclear attack. Fact number 62. Similarly, the GPS system that guides your car was originally a US military-only tool, developed for navigation and tracking. It was opened for civilian use in the 1980s. Fact number 63. Long before you could get anything from a vending machine, the very first one in the US was invented in 1888 in New York City. Its product, chewing gum. What do the microwave, the Slinky, and the chocolate chip cookie have in common? They were all brilliant accidents. Let's dive into the story of America's accidental genius and its absolutely enormous appetite. Fact number 64. Many iconic American products were complete accidents. The Slinky was invented when a naval engineer named Richard James accidentally knocked a spring off a shelf. He watched in amazement as it walked across the floor. Fact number 65. The chocolate chip cookie was also a mistake. In 1938, Ruth Wakefield, owner of the Toll House Inn, ran out of Baker's chocolate. She chopped up a Nestlé semi-sweet chocolate bar, expecting it to melt into the dough. It didn't, and a legend was born. Fact number 66. Even the microwave oven came from an accident. A scientist named Percy Spencer was working on a radar magnetron when he noticed the chocolate bar in his pocket had melted. He pointed it at some popcorn kernels, and when they popped, he knew he was onto something big. Fact number 67. The phrase, "the best thing since sliced bread," exists because before 1928, it didn't. Sliced bread was invented that year, and before its arrival, the popular phrase was simply, "the best thing." Fact number 68. Speaking of baked goods, apple pie is considered the quintessential American dessert. The irony? Neither apples nor the original pie recipes are native to the United States. Apples originated in Asia, and the first pie recipes came from England. Fact number 69. Another American icon, blue jeans, were invented by Levi Strauss in San Francisco not as fashion, but as durable work pants for the gold miners during the gold rush. Fact number 70. Moving from inventions to lifestyle, let's talk about food. Americans eat enough pizza every single day to cover 100 acres. That's the equivalent of 75 football fields covered in cheese and pepperoni every 24 hours. Fact number 71. And for dessert? The USA consumes more ice cream than any other nation on earth. The average American eats over 20 quarts of it per year. Fact number 72. All that eating leads to a lot of waste. The average American throws away nearly 4.5 pounds of trash every single day. That's over 1,600 pounds of garbage per person per year. Fact number 73. To wash it all down, Americans drink about 1 billion glasses of tap water per day. Despite the popularity of bottled water, the tap is still king. Fact number 74. On the 4th of July alone, Americans consume an estimated 150 million hot dogs. That's enough to stretch from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles more than 5 times. Fact number 75. But it's not all junk food. In a surprising twist, there are more public libraries in the United States than there are McDonald's restaurants. After inventing all that stuff, Americans got hungry, really hungry. The following statistics on the American appetite and its place in the world are so enormous, they're almost hard to swallow. Fact number 76. Super Bowl Sunday is the second biggest day for food consumption in the United States, right after Thanksgiving. Fact number 77. Some states dominate an entire global industry. The state of Kentucky, for instance, produces and ages 95% of the world's bourbon whiskey. Fact number 78. There is so much bourbon aging there that the number of barrels currently resting in Kentucky warehouses is greater than the number of people living in the state. Fact number 79. And for food, Kansas, the wheat state, produces more wheat than any other state, enough to bake over 36 billion loaves of bread each year. That's nearly 5 loaves for every single person on the planet. Fact number 80. The U.S. Department of Defense is the single largest employer in the world. With over 3 million employees, it's larger than most armies and many multinational corporations. Fact number 81. To put that in perspective, the next largest employer is the People's Liberation Army of China, followed by Walmart. Fact number 82. In the world of sports, the U.S. has won more medals at the Summer Olympic Games than any other country in history by a very wide margin. Fact number 83. The Hollywood Walk of Fame honors over 2,700 celebrities, but only one person has ever received a star, in all 5 of its categories. That person was the singing cowboy, Gene Autry. Fact number 84. If the state of California were an independent country, it would have the 5th largest economy in the entire world. It's an economic powerhouse, larger than the nations of India, the United Kingdom, or France. Fact number 85. From the most populous state to the least, the entire state of Wyoming has fewer people than many American cities. In fact, there are more people living within the city limits of Boston than in all of Wyoming. Fact number 86. There are more people living in the state of California than in the entire country of Canada. Fact number 87. American consumerism has created architectural titans. The Mall of America in Minnesota is so enormous you could fit 32 Boeing 747 jumbo jets inside it. For our final countdown, we're looking at modern marvels and stubborn traditions. From feats of engineering to the final shocking facts that define America's unique place on the global stage. Fact number 88. And if you wanted to visit every store in that mall, spending just 10 minutes in each one, it would take you over 86 hours to complete your shopping trip. Fact number 89. Keeping the country connected, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International is almost always the busiest airport in the world, serving over 100 million passengers in a typical year. Fact number 90. Our engineering marvels are just as impressive. There is enough concrete in the Hoover Dam to build a 2-lane highway from San Francisco all the way to New York City. Fact number 91. The Statue of Liberty, a symbol of freedom worldwide, was a gift from France in 1886. It was shipped across the Atlantic in 214 crates and took 4 months to assemble on Liberty Island. Fact number 92. And her iconic green color? That's not paint. It's the natural result of the copper skin oxidizing over decades. She was originally the color of a shiny penny. Fact number 93. Another famous monument, Mount Rushmore, is technically unfinished. The original grand vision was to depict the 4 presidents from the head down to their waists, but a lack of funding forced the project to end early, leaving us with the 4 giant, iconic heads. Fact number 94. But modern monuments are full of symbolism. One World Trade Center in New York City was designed to be exactly 1,776 feet tall, a direct and powerful reference to the year of American independence. Fact number 95. American entertainment is a global force. More people visit Disney World in Florida each year than the entire population of the Netherlands. Fact number 96. Speaking of Florida, it's a golfer's paradise. The state has more golf courses than any other state in the country, and more than most countries in the world. Fact number 97. The power of nature remains immense. The Mississippi River carries so much water that if it were to completely flood, its volume could cover the entire city of Washington, D.C. in 75 feet of water. Fact number 98. The Library of Congress holds over 838 miles of bookshelves. If you were to drive that distance, you could get from New York City to just outside of Chicago. Fact number 99. And now, for the final fact, a perfect example of America's stubborn independence. In a world that has almost universally agreed on a system of measurement, the United States is one of only 3 countries that has not officially adopted the metric system. The other 2 are Liberia and Myanmar. And that is 99 facts. From a misspelled name on the Liberty Bell to a town with a population of 1. America is a place filled with endless contradictions and surprises. What fact blew your mind the most? Did we miss a crazy one from your home state? Drop it in the comments below. I want to hear it. If you enjoyed this rapid-fire journey across the USA, do me a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe for more adventures into the strange and fascinating, and ring that bell so you never miss an upload. Until next time, stay curious.